China is striking back. In just the last hour, Beijing announced it is now slapping new retaliatory tariffs on all U.S. goods by an additional 50%, bringing the total tax on U.S. goods headed there to now 84%. Just look at your screen. That is after President Trump followed through on his threat to hit China with new tariffs, adding up to a combined 104%. That set in at midnight. So as the two countries now show exactly what a trade war looks like, going punch for punch, here's a live look at how stock futures are looking, and they are down across the board. They were mixed early this morning. Now all the major indices are down. Let's continue to follow this morning. Opening bell, next hour. Investors bracing for another roller coaster ride today. Many of the markets in Asia also took a hit as the new round of Trump tariffs set in. And also this just in, we have first reaction now from the White House, which we will get to in just a moment.
Wait, 84% tariffs? China's not playing games. This could shake the whole market actually. Hey, welcome back to my channel. Let's talk about what this really means. Let's watch some videos, then we can discuss further, right?
Okay, I'm not a mathematical genius. I can admit that shit. But I do know that 50 plus 34 is over 80%. Trump wants to put 80% tariffs on everything that comes in from China. We are about to be broke. Everything comes from China in America, okay? China don't need us. I'm going to say that again. China doesn't need us. We need China. Our medical devices come from there. Our food comes from there. Our metals come from there. Cars come from there. God damn it. Your iPhone comes from China. Hey, God damn it. I can't do it. Your wigs, bitch. Your wigs come from China. Okay. Your nails. All Shein and Temu is about to look like Louis Vuitton and Gucci, bitch. We ain't gonna afford shit. 80 something fucking tariffs, 80%, because they put 34% on us. He wants to add a retaliatory 50% on. China is about to laugh in our fucking faces. And I get you, they're going to counter. Don't, you know what? I'm going to say this and I may regret it. Don't back down, China. Make him eat his fucking words.
Do you know how much a Chinese factory make for a pair of Nike shoes? $10, which sells 150 on the shelf. A Stanley Cup, $50. The factory gets $1. $1. But when they sell millions of them, that's millions of dollars. And all surplus. That's where the surplus comes from. But for every $1 the factory made, somebody in America is making $49. Who is benefit from the globalization? And think about the pollution the factory has to cause in the local area. Who is benefit from the globalization? I don't know.
JD Vance just called China peasants, and this is massive news around the world. Let me explain why. Before we begin, let me introduce myself. I'm David. I used to live in China. I lived there for about 12 years. I'm an influencer in China. I have over 8 million followers in China. So, you know, I have my family connected to China. My kids were born there. I'm very well established there, meaning I know a lot about that country. So let's talk about this whole thing with JD Vance. Now, if you guys have never been to China, I need to explain something. Do not trust Western media's opinion about China. Don't trust it. It's a lie. It is the biggest bullshit you'll ever hear. Let me explain. Number one, they never show you the positives of China. They always show you, oh, China's a communist country. They're shit. Oh, China. People are dying. No. It's not like that. Oh my God. It's not like that. China is a country that within the last 30 years went from a fishing village to Shenzhen. Do you guys know Shenzhen, China? There are more than 17 million people that reside there. And it's not like a shithole with 17 million people. It is a cosmopolitan paradise. It is a very urbanized city, only third after Beijing and Shanghai. It is one of the most developed places on the planet where you could literally walk around and pay with your face. Now, I used to live in North China and then I lived in South China. Let me tell you, Chinese people are some of the most educated, amazing, fantastic people I have ever met in my entire life. And I don't know, once I left China and came back to Australia, I realized everyone's doing the hating on China, the shitting on China, the hate, you know, I got sick of it. So I started saying stuff, and then I was in the newspaper saying, David is getting paid by the Chinese government. For fuck's sake, I was never paid by the Chinese government. This video is really me just telling you the truth. Now, let's talk about JD Vance. JD Vance now talks about how they give money to peasants and this and that. How could you, I'm not even bloody American, how could you call a race of people that went from farming villages to one of the most developed countries on the planet, if not behind the US, competing with the US within a period of 20 to 30 years? How could you be so ignorant? I feel like he's such a racist bastard. Do you know what I mean? He's just, I'm lost. I'm lost. I don't know what to say. Thank God I'm not an American. Because if I was, holy shit, I'd be arrested. All I'm saying is, that is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard.
Who needs who more? The one that makes all the cheap products or the one that buys all the cheap products? This is what we're going to find out in this heated tariff trade war between the United States and China. President Trump is making his bet. He thinks China needs us more than we need them. They obviously think the vice versa of that. My honest opinion, I think President Trump is right. I think China is going to cave on this. See, Trump is using some of these tariffs as a negotiating tactic because reports are already out that they're requiring some of these countries that want to cut a deal to quote unquote get creative. But here's why I think China is going to cave, and this may not necessarily have to do with the short term. You see, China is on a 50 or 100-year plan. They don't care about the immediate short term. They're looking light years ahead, which is something I wish our politicians in the United States did much sooner, decades ago. They may cave, they may give in the short term. But as soon as there's another administration, as soon as things change, as soon as the political environment gets a little bit different, they're going to capitalize. The thing for President Trump is this is far beyond just China. What I think the actual end game is to raise enough tariffs to offset the income tax so that they can go in with huge tax cuts across the board. The first thing they're going to get rid of or try to get rid of is the capital gains tax, or at least reduce it significantly, and then potentially reduce income taxes significantly as well. But they need to be extremely careful, because if these tariffs and these trade wars cause a global economic collapse, there's not going to be enough people importing, exporting, buying, or selling to raise the amount of money that were supposed to be raised off these tariffs to offset those income taxes. This is actually incredibly fascinating, and this is not a political post. This is not about which side you're on. This is a test of economic theory, and we're going to see how it plays out. The opposing theories are, on one hand, you have high tariffs, low income taxes, and that would be better for the American citizen, or the opposite. You have open trade, free trade, very little tariffs, if any at all, and that will be better for the individual American citizen. Americans have for decades enjoyed cheap goods made overseas. Can we stomach things getting more expensive? I'll tell you one thing. If there's an actual collapse and people lose their jobs, we're not going to be able to stomach it for much longer. No matter what happens, no matter which way this thing swings, this is going to be studied about in economics classes for decades to come.
So Trump has paused all tariffs on all countries except for China. China has 125% tariff increase. Are you fucking kidding me? Now you want to back down? Now you want to be chicken shit? That means that nobody was really coming to the table, because the EU said, okay, we got retaliatory tariffs too. Japan and Korea was willing to negotiate Countries in fucking Africa was like, oh, we with the shit. Nigeria was with the shit. They said, we don't want none of your stuff no more. Nigeria cut off 25 categories worth of shit that came from America to be stopped at the damn border of Nigeria. I cannot. He's jumping 125% tariffs right away because according to him, China hasn't shown respect to the global markets. This man is really trying to tank our economy. He really is. You backed out. You a bitch. Now, every other country, get your asses up and rally behind China.
Markets hate uncertainty, and this just made things worse. It's wild.
So China just hit back at Trump's tariffs, but instead of panicking, the markets just came back. So what are traders, investors in the United States and Europe missing? Well, Beijing came up with this idea of 10 to 15% tariffs on all American energy and agriculture tools. Typical retaliation, right? But instead of crashing, the Hang Seng Index jumped 3%. But why? Because China's playing 3D chess with Trump. They're avoiding broad market disruption while focusing on only a handful of key U.S. firms. So they blacklisted Calvin Klein's parent company and U.S. gene sequencing giant Illumina. They basically said, here's a warning shot to corporations that are dependent on our Chinese supply chains. And if that's not enough, they restricted exports of tungsten. Yes, tungsten, which is huge. An important metal that's used in defense, aviation, and tech. Everyone knows about it and its importance. So this isn't just about tariffs anymore, guys. It's about leverage. And China is saying, here they're signaling, we are powerful without escalating tensions too far. You see, right now, the smart investors are seeing beyond the headlines. They're actually repositioning. The short haul traders are reacting to news. But the smart traders are reading the game behind the game, so to speak.
People are asking me whether I'm afraid of the potential price increase in China caused by the new American tariff policy. So I looked around my house for some American products. The only thing that I can find is this iPhone 16 that I use for TikTok. And it's probably also made in China. So no, I don't think the new tariff law will change my life at all.
You're being lied to. You're being told America's winning this trade war. That Trump's 54% tariff on China is going to bring back jobs. Crush Beijing and put America first? What if I told you China's not panicking, they're planning? They literally hold all the cards. If you're a day trader or worse, you have your retirement tied to US stocks, this might be your last warning. The tariff fight, it's not about trade. It's a financial chess move. And guess what? Winnie the Pooh, Chi, he's playing to win. Now I know what the trolls will say. Bro, China's cooked. 300 billion trade surplus about to vanish. These tariffs will crush them. Yeah, you think China didn't game this out a decade back? You big dummy? Let me explain. Facts. Exports are only about 20% of China's GDP, and 85% of their exports go to countries that aren't in the US. So yeah, it hurts. It's not fatal. Meanwhile, here in the United States, we're addicted to debt. And guess who's holding our IOUs, which you might have known if you were in my community with my team, run by a former investment banker in Hong Kong. You see, because China holds over $750 billion in US Treasury debt, they don't need to dump it all. All they need is to trickle it out at the perfect point. Like when the US is trying to refinance trillions in debt. Boom, interest rates spike. Stocks crash, retirement accounts get torched. Do you still think Xi is bluffing? Take notes. I'm about to give you 2 more reasons what he has up his sleeve. Number 1, the BRICS play, the dollar punisher. China's leading a new payment system with Russia, India, Brazil, and South Africa. It's de-dollarizing global trade, making the US dollar less important with every deal. You think inflation is bad now? Wait until demand for US dollar vanishes. Number 2, write this down, rare earth monopoly. China controls 70% of the world's rare earth refining. You know the stuff we need for phones, fighter jets, EVs, AI chips. You want to play hardball? They can choke our supply chain overnight. And while America plays culture wars and TikTok politics, pro-Palestine marches on campuses, China's building empires with AI. Here are examples. Take notes, save this video, and share it with a friend to discuss. Sensei Time. It's a Chinese AI firm which is already rolling out up-to-date facial recognitions for cities and logistics. ByteDance's Lark is replacing Zoom and Slack across all of Asia. And Tencent is using AI co-pilots into medical, legal, and fintech ecosystems. You're busy tweeting. They're busy taking your future. So here's the truth. Nobody genuinely wants to hear this. Trump's unfortunately out of moves. Xi isn't. And this economic Super Bowl ends the way it's heading. China wins, America loses, and your portfolio gets cut in half. Don't say nobody warned you, but this is preventable. There's a growing class of Chinese companies undervalued and overlooked by Western investors. Companies that are thriving, building in AI, clean energy, logistics, and global payments. You can hedge, still be a patriotic American just like me. You can profit, you can protect your future, but not by listening to cable news or Twitter threads from fake economists who aren't actually in the trenches like you and me are. You need intel from the source, from someone who's actually has worked in private equity and investment banking. Our co-founder is an ex-investment banker in Hong Kong. He's helped institutions navigate. Now he's helping people like you.
Americans, are you ready for another Great Depression? 104% tariffs. Seriously? Trump is copying your worst President Hoover's failed trade war, the one that crashed global trade by 66% and directly caused the depression. Now, Trump's tariffs are even worse. Look at the global markets, all crashed. Even gold, the safe haven asset, tanked. Oh, America, America, if you want to attack China, you don't do that by hurting yourself as well. But you know what? China could just rally EU, Japan, ASEAN, and launch a zero-tariff bloc, a WTO 2.0 without the US. Is Trump really saving America? Tariffs are meant to bring manufacturing back to the US, but are your factories even ready? If not, you're still importing from China, just paying way more. And guess who foots the bill? You Americans do. What do you guys now feel? Tell me in the comments.
This trade war is going too far. What do you think? I think this trade war is going too far. Or is it just tough politics? I don't know. This is wild. Do you think US will respond to this? Or are we just headed to a deeper political trade war? You know one thing though, China is not backing off. They mean business, like they are ready for this war. I feel like America is being thrown into a flaming waste basket. Let me know in the comment section if this affects you personally. I'd love to hear from you actually. Give it a thumbs up. Do not forget to subscribe, like, and leave a comment. Your opinion matters, okay?